Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. The government of Pakistan, led by the Ministry of Human Rights, is proud to have approved the country's first National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights in September 2021, making Pakistan the first country in South Asia with a NAP. The NAP articulates a national strategy for the fulfillment of human rights across all forms of business activity. In addition to laying out the state's expectations of business enterprises with respect to human rights throughout their activities, the National Action Plan proposes 69 actions across the following 8 priority areas: financial transparency, corruption and human rights standards in public procurement contracts, anti-discrimination, equal opportunity and inclusion, human rights due diligence, labor standards and the informal economy, child labor, forced or bonded labor, occupational health and safety, access to remedy. Through implementation of the National Action Plan, the government aims to strengthen legislative, regulatory and institutional mechanisms aimed at advancing human rights protections across business activity. This will reduce regulatory uncertainty for businesses and clearly articulate their human rights obligations and best practices, such as 1. Human rights policy commitments, 2. The implementation of human rights due diligence, 3. The provision of remedial and grievance resolution mechanisms. The National Action Plan also explains ways in which the state will facilitate and support business in meeting their human rights obligations. Since the launch of the NAP, we have established an interministerial steering committee which includes all relevant stakeholders at both federal and provincial levels to drive forward an effective and timely implementation of this National Action Plan. The launch and now ongoing implementation of the same demonstrates Pakistan's firm commitment to the United Nations guiding principles on business and human rights. On behalf of the government of Pakistan, I would like to congratulate the organizers and participants of the 3rd Asian Forum on Business and Human Rights for holding this important discussion on the advancement and responsible business practices across the region. Thank you.
Business and human rights is a core element of UNDP's work in Pakistan to strengthen rule of law, human rights and access to justice. In doing that, central to our work is that we try to promote the United Nations guiding principles of business and human rights. These principles have 3 main pillars. One is the state duty to protect human rights. The other one is the obligation of businesses to respect human rights. And the third is the access to remedies for those who have fallen victims to human rights abuses. On Pillar 1, we have worked with the government of Pakistan in their commendable efforts to create this National Action Plan on business and human rights. On Pillar 2, we are working with businesses to help incorporate human rights principles into their due diligence processes across their business activities. And on Pillar 3, we are working with human rights institutions, civil society and other stakeholders to help give access to remedy mechanisms and to assist in strengthening corporate accountability. Human rights are deeply linked with sustainable human development, and therefore UNDP's support for the incorporation of human rights into business activity is a central activity in our work to support Pakistan achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. I want to congratulate, on behalf of UNDP Pakistan, the organizers and participants on the 3rd South Asian Forum on Business and Human Rights for holding this vital discussion, and I wish you fruitful deliberations.